little bit of AEW, not a lot. Just enough to remind me why I don't watch it. Oh, this is already funny. Just the headline. The list of moves and actions that are now banned from AEW or need to be approved by the company.
Maybe that's why Nash is pissed off, because he went for Brock and Austin and not try to duplicate him.
Well, it'd be easier to duplicate him. You only have to learn 5 moves.
Like you said, and we've all been saying, Tony Khan, you need a hierarchy, and he gets one, and then we make fun of it.
Because he's sitting back there talking about the Brock match, and it's finally we had a wrestling match. Finally, we got 2 guys telling a story. They weren't outside in the ring the whole time. One of them
was he not watching the same match as we were?
Yeah, those games, man, I would say, like, for me, like, the best ones, I would say, are, like, the ones where they try to get a certain, like, time.
This is my entire IT team right here on screen. Everybody. Now, ladies and gentlemen, WrestleChat with Vince McMahon. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Nation Network and another edition of WrestleChat. And before we get too deep in the weeds here, going to bring in my sidekick, my partner in crime, the one, the only. Give it up for him, J-Rocks. How you doing? And silence filled the air. It always works better if you turn it on, buddy. I don't know. Nah, still got nothing. Say hello to my little friend.
Hello?
Oh, now I got something.
It was on. It was plugged in. It just, I guess it didn't like the place I had it plugged in. Sounds like a female, don't it?
I was just going to say that's what she said. Oh, mercy, mercy, mercy. We are
doesn't
closing
mean that's
in
where I
on
wanted to go.
WrestleMania. And I don't know, man. Change is in the air. I just don't know that change is a good thing right now. Jamon Scott, welcome aboard. The clown is here. Always a pleasure. Clown, I sent you a message on Discord. Did you get it? And let me know if that's something of interest to you or not. Neil Hooper's in the house. Dale Santaford is here. It's like old high school reunion every week. I like that.
There you go.
And I think that covers everybody. So hello, everybody, and welcome to the chat. For those of you that might be new, I'm Vince McShane. This is Jay. And we do this WrestleChat thing periodically when there's enough worth talking about. And I got a feeling we've kind of reached that point right now. So I'm just going to dive in because, yeah. There are people saying the Attitude Era is back, and I'm here to say, no, it's not. This is so bad. There's nothing about it that's good. There's nothing about it that's good. The fact that The Rock is dropping F-bombs, congratulations. You've just alienated half the audience that thought they had a wrestling program they could bring their kids to.
Yep.
When he was outside in the rain, bashing Cody all over God's green earth, dropping F-bombs, and you could read his lips. It wasn't too, and you heard the gasp in the crowd. It wasn't, ooh, this is edgy. It's, ooh, I can't bring my kids anymore. And I know this is all, the question had been asked going into the fact that Netflix will be taking over Raw.
Right.
And are they going to still be PG on Netflix where there's obviously no binders? Of course, Netflix is the one that like to produce programs like Cuties with little girls being sexualized. So we know they don't have any scruples whatsoever. And then you got the WWE that's trying to get themselves out of a hole with Vince McMahon, but this is not the way to go. And then you got one of their, top officers out there to drop an F-bomb so often that they've got to block the audio. So unless you're reading the lips, you have no freaking clue what half the sentences are that are. And then there's the indulgent blood. I felt like I was watching another episode of AEW without the in-ring talent being carted out on a stretcher.
I mean, at least it isn't every week. with the blood. They did it.
There's a
The blood
starting
I can
point
deal-
somewhere.
I know, but the blood I can deal with because it was to prove a point and because we all know what he said about the belt at WrestleMania. So the blood I can get past. But as far as like you said, him dropping all the F-bombs and stuff like that, there's ways to get yourself over in this day and age without having to resort to that. You can be edgy and not have to drop F-bombs. Because you're right. This isn't the Attitude Era. This isn't the era like I grew up watching where I was a teen going, oh, yeah, this is so fucking cool, because they're dropping F-bombs. You have 8, 9, 10-year-olds watching the product consistently now.
Not anymore.
Well, probably not, but that was your demographic. And like you said, you heard the gasp from the audience, and it wasn't a, ooh, this is cool. It was like, oh, god damn. Oh.
Yeah, it was moms covering their kids' ears.
Yeah, Billy ain't watching this for a while, if ever now. So, but as far as going to Netflix, still, I mean, if your kids are watching it and you have Netflix, are you going to let them watch it on Netflix if they're going that direction? No. And how many adults really are going to watch wrestling on Netflix? I'm not buying Netflix just to watch Raw. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Same here.
That's just it.
And at this point, I was thinking to myself, if they end up taking over the whole network at some point, because I know Peacock has a longer contract than Netflix, but after that contract, I'm presuming Netflix is going to want the whole shebang. And if that were to happen, I think to myself, would I then go back to Netflix? After seeing this, I'm thinking probably not, because what do I not have on DVD? I'm not watching current content nearly as much because the old stuff is much better. And everything about this was stupid. It was beyond. So let's talk about the bleeding thing. You're saying you get the point because it was.
Yeah.
We're in a new era. Everyone knows Cody took a blade to make himself bleed.
Right.
No need for it. Because I know you did it to yourself, it loses impact. When Brock was out there with Randy Orton and John Cena legitimately busting them open, and you knew it, even though it's still a work, there was some real to that.
Yeah. And from being somebody who did a few of those in my past, being busted open the hard way is a lot more impactful than knowing, I'm down doing this with my, I'm wiping the sweat away. No, I'm bleeding. Yeah, I get that.
D-Train, thanks for the emojis because that really pops off the screen. I like that.
But yeah, that's what I was saying. It at least went with the storyline. It wasn't just we're going to bleed just to fucking bleed like a la AEW and every fucking week, and not just John Moxley. Now I was just on here on Twitter before you fucking sent me the link, and there's a picture of Edge with his face all bloodied up, going, "I've just won the TNT title, so I'm bringing back open challenges." Really? That's the picture you want to put out there for your product. That's why I don't watch it right now.
Well, that's my fear, is the WWE is going to become unwatchable. I'll say this. I fast forwarded through a lot of it because I just didn't have 3 hours in me, and I wasn't really that interested. And The Rock coming out and not saying a word and then whispering something to Cody, and I'm like, okay, this will play along later on at some point in time. I wasn't expecting it to come to fruition later that night.
Right.
And then, I went to bed yesterday, probably halfway through the show, saying I'll watch the rest when I get home. I had already seen a couple of shots of Cody busted open. I said, okay, I'll avoid social media until I get to the end. But I'm already in the mindset of, okay, there's Cody using a blade on himself. And you can even tell it was such a nice straight line. He should be a surgeon. And the funny thing is, the John Stossel, what was it? The Dr. Death biography thing was on. And I was just watching that yesterday with the whole expose and how we take the blades out and how we did And then to see this later that night, I'm like, wow, yeah, that was exposed like 25 years ago. It doesn't really have the same pop anyway. That's why when Moxley does it in the first 10 seconds, I don't know what anyone's getting excited about. He cut himself shaving again.
Well, that's the thing too, is that the more you do it, you don't. Eventually, your forehead gets so thinned out that you don't need even the blade. One good punch and you're going to be bleeding. Just ask Ric Flair. I mean, that man, he didn't have to. Yeah, you didn't. They didn't have to blade after a while. Abdullah the Butcher. Eventually, your head gets so tender
soft
and thin. Yeah, one good knuckle to the forehead, and it's just going to flow. So,
or one good Brock elbow will do it too.
That.
I liked it in that documentary with Dr. Death, and they were talking about the bleeding thing, and then they cut to Cornette. There are two ways you can get blood in professional wrestling: the easy way and the hard way.
Hard way, yep. That's where that
Sometimes it's just that
from.
simple.
Yep.
All right, Dale liked the blood. It caught him by surprise, which I'll admit there's a certain surprise factor, but at this point, I was already turned off with the F-bombs. And again, Rock is dropping so many 4-letter words that they're bleeping and bleeping and not even bleeping. They're going to the 7-second button, and that deletes 3 to 5 seconds of audio. So you're not missing a word. You're missing a sentence.
Yeah.
It's not needed. The blood wasn't needed.
Well, the one thing I will say about the blood, if I had to do it, if I would have done it over, I would have saved it, because Rock had already said he was going to make Cody bleed at WrestleMania. You should have just left it for that then. You could have had Rock try to bust him open last night, and it didn't come to fruition. And then at WrestleMania, Rock succeeds. Cody's bleeding like a fucking stuck pig and the whole 9 yards. I think it would have been more impactful there. But again, like I said, I understand why they did it, but it's either way. You could have had it or not had it, and it'd been just as good. So
yeah, they had it. I didn't like it personally, and like I said, the whole rated R, because again, you're dropping F-bombs. You can't. That's literally an R rating in a movie once you get to the second F-bomb.
Right.
So what's the purpose? I just don't get it. Does anyone really you Rock trying to be a heel so much and think that we don't like you just because we don't like you? Not a heel thing. It's it's kind of like a Nia Jax thing. And hey, bloodline, good job. I'm checking comments at the same time, see what's else going on.
Yeah.
So I was mentioning I was fast forwarding through a lot of this stuff. What Edge was using, okay. And I guess one of the things I maybe don't need to be fast forwarding so much anymore, I did last night, but then I see clips, is Ricochet's match.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we already know, right?
Yeah.
I saw that clip and I'm like, all right, maybe I really do need to give this guy a chance.
When Ricochet's on, he's fucking on. I mean,
did you see what he did last night?
Yes, I saw that flip into the Canadian
the destroyer out of an arm grab.
Yeah.
Fucking insane.
Yep. I give props to both of them for pulling that shit off. I mean,
no kidding. Talk about a teamwork, and it's a dance and all that stuff. I mean, but it was absolutely phenomenal hit. Phenomenal.
Yeah, for being a short match, I mean, that move alone was worth watching the match. So.
And that brings me up to another thing about the shows that I just get tired of now. Every fucking match has a commercial break, if not two.
I know. Yep.
You don't need it. Give them a 10-minute spot for most of these matches. And God knows. So that was the other thing. I'm going to jump all over the place. I can't stick still, right? Stay to one thing right now. CM Punk ran long, and that's why Drew came out finally, because it basically was giving him the hook.
Right.
CM Punk went long? Are you fucking kidding me? No.
Not CM Punk.
Not
he gave him a live mic.
Back, who was most known for having a pipe bomb on your show towards the end of his run. That guy ran long? Come on. Don't act fucking surprised. So CM Punk runs long. Drew, and did they even accomplish anything? He's going to be a color commentator. Is that where they landed that ship?
Yeah, I think he's going to be out there as on commentary. Is where they finally where it's.
I feel like it's got to be a guest referee at the end of the day.
And I heard somebody else say this on another podcast, was they could see him being out there as guest referee, and the referee gets taken down, so CM Punk runs in to make the call and stuff because another referee couldn't get out. So
that could work. It could be done.
Yeah.
Neil Hooper jumped.
By who? Say his name.
Neil Hooper jumped me, man. I was getting ready to bring that up because that to me was the line of the night.
Oh, and I know you're not a big. I know you're not a big Seth fan, but I think that segment up until Seth came out could be like the segment of the year so far, because him and Drew going back and forth, that was good. That was real good. Mm-hmm. And I think Seth coming out just kind of brought it down. So,
yeah, I mean, it's the normal Raw formula. We start out, we get a guy in the ring. Somebody else comes out to the ring to challenge what he's saying. Now we're going to have a match, but another guy comes in the ring. Now it's going to be a triple threat or a tag team or blah, blah, blah. But it's just like the same fucking recipe all the time. You always know that everyone involved in the match is going to come out with a microphone and they're all going to have something to say.
Right. But except Seth didn't really have much to say. So it was like,
well, sometimes less is more. But that was the best line. I mean, he might have run long, but the chosen one. Who said you were the chosen one? Tell me again. Who deemed you were the chosen one?
And he even said, he's like, say his name. Go on, say his name. And
not only that, but then he went after. I wish I could remember the exact quote, but right after that, it basically making it. It's like, look at the character of the person who chose you. Something to that effect. Right. Yeah, basically attacking Vince personally.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, times have changed. And he probably had that thing bottled up inside him. And I'm wondering how much of that was approved, by the way.
I don't know. But
CM Punk saying a curse when he mentioned to Drew and Seth, that made me laugh. I lost track of all the curse words last night because of all the bleeping. And it's like, guys, I want to hear what you're saying. And when you say those words, I can't. On their YouTube channel, they need to repost all these things without the bleeps.
True.
The unedited version, so we can understand what the fuck you said.
But again, with YouTube, if you're marketing towards kids, they've got those guidelines and stuff.
Yeah, the WWE's not. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to leave comments on the videos.
No, that's true. I didn't think about that. So.
Now, there are regulations for monetization where, I think it's depending on length of video, you can't have the F-bomb in the first 2 minutes, I believe. Since I don't monetize, fuck you, I can say, I don't have to worry about these rules. These are the things that allow me to be me. Well, my hope is that it's only going to be Raw and that SmackDown is going to stay a good show.
Right.
Because with Impact being what it is right now, they're losing talent. The Motor City Machine Guns are out. They're done. Contract is up. So these last TV tapings is it, and they're gone. So that kind of is a dinger right there. That was one of the hottest tag teams to watch. Even at the age they're at now, they are still outperforming a lot of other teams. Rumor on whether or not they'll show up at Mania. I don't see that happening. Maybe day after. I just don't think enough people in that crowd are going to know who they are. And that's sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they deserve a WWE run with the careers they've had and with the talent they still have and bring to the game. So, but again, Impact is losing.
Yeah, they'd definitely be an addition to either tag division for either show. So,
yep. Oh, and then what else we got here? Hold on a minute. Oh, we'll work together. Okay. Then there's the outside possibility. And if not for the way AEW's worked the fans in the past, I would give it a little more credibility. But there's the outside possibility of MJF showing up. They've removed him from their official website. They've played these games in the past, though. They've removed all the merch. If and now, so here's in the past, you've heard me say there's no way he'll go there because he can't be MJF there. Well, he can now.
Yeah, if they're legitimately changing how they're doing stuff, then yeah, he could.
So that does open a door of like, hey, maybe he had talks with Hunter, and Hunter's like, hey, don't worry, brother, we're getting ready to change everything, so you'll be fine. So yeah, and we all knew that the timeline was right, that his contract was coming up in January, and he's a guy that wants to be as big as he can be, and maybe Tony could pay him more money, maybe. But Tony's not going to give him the opportunity, and the doors are not. No one in AEW is starring in major motion pictures.
Nope.
You know, John Moxley is not getting. He got as bad as it was. He got a role in the WWE doing a Marine movie. Right. But he's not making any movies in AEW. You know, Jungle Shit isn't making any movies in AEW or New Japan for that matter. I hear people saying Jungle Boy, oh, they need to get him back. They can't let him go to WWE. If the WWE is stupid enough to sign his ass.
Here's the thing with Jungle Boy. Him over in Japan, it's a fucking work right now. He's still under contract with AEW.
He tore it up. He tore it up on TV. I saw it.
Did you zoom in? Did you read all the
I'm joking. Print? It doesn't matter if you tear it up or not. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people say that too, and I'm like, he's still under contract. This is a fucking work, guys. They're playing into this whole thing of him getting in trouble, and it's going to fucking blow up in their face.
When New Legacy is playing their game, they wait to start hard. Like, again, there's a time pattern, and even then, after that time goes by, there's only so many F-bombs you're allowed or some shit like that. I'm like, nah, I ain't got time for that.
Or you do like I do when I was doing the wrestling videos. I'd have the songs with the cursor words right in the opening promos and stuff, so to bring the show on. So I didn't care.
So I don't know whether or not he's going to show up. Where would you bring him in? I mean, you're not going to bring him in during the championship match or after the title match, because that's already going to be a hot mess. You're going to either have bloodline rules running or not, either way. Then Damien's got to cash in. I heard somebody say he's going to try and cash in on Gunther or something. I was like, that would be the biggest stupid of all time. He's not going after the Intercontinental title. So you've already got too much happening in the main event one way or another to add MJF at the end. All right, so he runs in with his money in the bank, does the cash in, fails, whether it be on Drew or whether it be on Cody. Right. He fails. And there's another celebration going on, and now MJF comes out on stage.
You would be better off to bring him in at the end of Raw the next night.
That's what I'm thinking. It does suck that it's not a WrestleMania moment, but
not you don't. Your first moments don't always have to be the WrestleMania. It would be more impactful that you get to the end of Raw after WrestleMania. Whoever it is, either Seth or you wait till SmackDown, Cody, whoever it's going to be that you're going to put him up against, and you just have him walk out and just stand there and smirk that shit-eating smirk he does and go off the air. You will have people talking about your show for the next week until they find out what happened.
And if that were to happen, that's like the death of AEW. You know, people keep saying, oh, they're signing all these free agents. WWE couldn't sign them. The WWE is only signing the ones that move the needle, assholes. And Mercedes Moné has done 0 for your ratings. Look up the quarter hour. They're all talking about her first appearance on Dynamite or whatever that shit show was that they had her on when she came out. That's Big Bang Theory overrun numbers. Everyone knows that. The reruns of Big Bang Theory draw a bigger crowd than AEW does. Simple and plain.
And the thing about it is, it's not that they couldn't sign them. They chose not to. It was WWE's choice not to give her the money she
not
wanted.
in Okada's situation. In Okada, he just didn't like the work schedule.
Well, okay.
He wanted to get more money and work less. Well,
right.
I can't blame you for that logic. But if you want to be a WWE superstar, world renowned, who can then parlay that into a film career, I mean, and there's a track record. It's not like just one guy got lucky. You know, Austin did a couple of movies. Rock's done more movies than he should have done. Cena's done some movies and is still working on different TV shows and game shows and what have you shows. The Bellas have a show. I mean,
even Mercedes, she went and starred in The Mandalorian. So
I don't know about starting. She appeared in.
Well, what I'm saying is she wouldn't have got that role.
No, she wouldn't.
If she'd been with AEW, it was because of who she was and who she had worked with, because people knew who she was.
Xavier is quite the artist. Look at all that shit. I can't do that.
I can't either.
I'm distracted by that. Now let me read the comment. I'm like, damn, that's pretty cool. Have MJF attack CM Punk while he's on commentary. You know what? That's not so bad.
No, it's
not so bad.
He could even jump the barricade and attacking from behind. Don't even come out.
Now that, if he comes over the barricade, that's big.
Yeah, because at that point, you're not saying he's signed with it. He's just he don't like CM Punk, so he's just going to take him out, and then you could work that whole angle of, well, I'm going to do this against him, and it's going to be non-sanctioned because he doesn't have a WWE contract. And where are you signing?
DHW, welcome aboard, buddy. I don't even know. Again, so they got, what's his name there? Okada. They got, who was the other one they signed? Right. Oh, Mercedes, but wasn't there somebody?
Ospreay.
Will Ospreay. Thank you. I knew I was forgetting somebody. They're doing nothing. They're still running their 800,000 number, which some programs aren't bad. But again, Big Bang Theory is outdrawing them, and by a lot.
Yeah.
In reruns that people have seen 20 or 30 times. And then as soon as AEW comes on, it's click.
Yep. Because that's what, and this will be a segue, but that's one thing that Jim Cornette says all the time when they run the numbers for AEW. They discount that first quarter because that's all people who's left over from watching Big Bang Theory.
And you think that was a coincidence that that's when Mercedes came out?
Nope, not at all.
Because they want to try and say I spent all this money and look at the ratings.
You're right, exactly. And the fact that CM Punk mentioned he listens to Jim Cornette, I thought that was good too, because that's just a kick in the teeth to AEW. Because we know how Meltzer and Jim Cornette don't like each other. So if Meltzer's a dick rider for AEW, you got now CM Punk mentioning Jim Cornette on WWE TV. So
Meltzer.
I don't think she'll regret it, Neil. Did who?
Triple H took a shot at Meltzer.
Yeah, he has too. Yep.
I mean, like this week.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been on Twitch.
Yeah, there was some Meltzer. Right. Meltzer's getting credit for saying something about the backstage and what happened in WWE, and I don't even remember what the subject matter is. He's now saying I was not the source of this. I said that this is something that was given to me as information. I did not say this was factual information. And basically, Triple H, or was it The Rock? I felt like it was Triple H. It might have been The Rock now that I'm thinking about it, but basically said he's a piece of shit. Neil Hooper says Ospreay is amazing, and 800,000 people know that. Which, again, ain't a bad number overall in the world,
right.
But 3 million would know how good he is if he was in the WWE. Where I come from, marketing-wise, you want the biggest eyes in the audience. There's a reason people pay $25 million or more for a 30-second ad during the Super Bowl, because they know people are going to see it.
Right. And I want to go back to Neil's other comment. Mercedes isn't, unless she gets injured, she's not going to regret her time in AEW because she's getting that paycheck. Well, no, she's going to get that paycheck. And I guarantee you that when she's done there, she'll come back and take the lesser money to go back to WWE.
Well, she already said that.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. So
her first day on the mic there, she talked about somebody asked her in a press conference, and she's like, "Well, I'm definitely going back to WWE. I've got unfinished." It was like, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm like, "You bitch." I mean, how do you do that? So I go get a new job. It's like, well, I'm definitely going back to the old job. I like that better. But right now, you guys are paying me pretty good money, so I'm here.
Right.
I'd fire your ass so fast, and don't let the door hit you. What's up, Judd? Yeah, she's not going to be well used. Speaking of not well used, anybody seen a good doctor anywhere?
No. Nope.
That was your homegrown talent. That girl was over like Rover. I know she had some injuries, but pretty sure those are past tense now.
Right. Yeah, she's fully healed. They just haven't brought her back on television.
Yeah, why would you? She's a rating success. Why would you want to bring her back on? Maybe because CM Punk endorsed her.
Maybe.
Wouldn't it be funny if that was the truth?
Oh my God.
Oh, DHW, you came in late. We already covered this, but I'll tell you right now. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that whole segment. None of it. Did you like or dislike Hollywood Rock? What do you mean by Hollywood Rock? Are we talking about this new final boss Rock that we dealt with last night? Or just the way he is now that he's gone Hollywood? Because, those are two kind of separate animals, even though they're a little bit the same.
Yeah, this one's different than the Hollywood Rock was the last time he came back and stuff. I mean, I'm not overly a fan of the final boss Rock. I do like Hollywood Rock more, but again,
what's Hollywood Rock then?
When he had done the first couple movies and he came back as a heel and he did all the singing and
he came back as a heel after leaving and going to Hollywood. When was he a heel? He came back and fought Cena twice in 2 years, and at that point, neither one was necessarily over or not. Cena had half the crowd. He had half the crowd.
Right, but at that point, he was still a heel.
Against who?
Against Cena. Cena was the face in those.
Oh, I didn't feel that way at all. I felt they both had their collective. I mean, when he was doing that whole thing about he did the vignette from like San Francisco by the Bay with all the Cena's merchandise and stuff, did he had a little kid come in there and is like, "Oh, you could be John Cena. Your arm's almost as big as his." The fans loved it, so I don't see him being a heel for that.
Right, but he even though the fans loved it, I loved it. He was supposed to be the heel. So that's where the Hollywood Rock was supposed to come. And that's what everybody thought he was going to be this time, but now he's evolved it to the final boss. And I think it's again, different era, different time. I don't think it plays as well here as it did back then.
It's like I keep telling people, you can't, even if Heyman decided he had the money and the desire, he might have the money now. And again, because of WWE, not because of AEW or, you can't make ECW work again today. It's a different generation. Yeah. It would never work today. People wouldn't watch it. There'd be that core group of, 500, 600,000, maybe even 800,000, but you're not going to grow it. We've kind of been there, done that. And when you talk about pro wrestling, where have they not been and done? I mean, it is going to be hard to come up with new shit at this point. Right. I don't argue that.
You almost got
his version of 2003, 2004 Hollywood going up against Austin, for example. Yeah, he was a heel for Austin.
Right.
I still don't say he was a heel for John Cena. I think they were both just being themselves and let the fans fall where they may. And I think there were half the crowd that was for Cena, half the crowd was for him. And it was the same thing as when he was going up against Hogan. Hogan was supposed to be the heel, but he wasn't.
Right.
At the end of the day, the fans are going to determine who the heel is or isn't. And in this case, there's nothing wrong with having two non-heels fight each other, by the way. I've been saying that for long enough. Yeah, what a fucking idea. There's nothing wrong with having a couple of heels fight each other.
Right. Because that means you're just going to have a downright dirty scrap fight. Who's going to cheat to win?
All right. Well, we'll see. I mean, you can't keep blurring out sentences at a time and have a successful program. The idea is that you're putting on a visual and audible event that's going to keep an audience engaged. And it's hard for me to be engaged if I can't hear the fucking words coming out of your mouth.
And I'm surprised Fox has not come down on them about that. Be like, we're missing half the show here because you're having to cut it because of this, that, and the other. I get it. If the crowd's chanting something, you got to cut it out. Fine. But when your performers are doing it, I mean,
Willie D in the house. Welcome aboard. Well, this is WrestleChat. We can talk about pretty much anything wrestling. 2K 24 after 3 weeks. I haven't bought it. He hasn't bought it, and I've got a separate program I'll be doing here hopefully in the near future that will delve into. I've got all kinds of notes. Matter of fact, I have to add a new note that I picked up today. And I noticed this last year, and I don't know why I didn't say anything about it, because I guess I didn't realize it. And some of you may realize, like, I had custom-made titles coming out to the ring, and it's like, where the hell are the side plates? The side plates disappeared. Well, I figured out this year, they disappear if the wrestler wears the belt. If he carries the belt, they're there. So I had Hogan, I was going to adjust it, and I was going to take the WWE title off of him and just have him with the XWF title. This way he does his traditional entrance, tearing off the shirt and everything. And thank God, I ran a test, and all of a sudden he's coming out with a belt that's got a center plate, and that's it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Then I switch it around and put it back to him carrying just the one title. I gave him like an Austin entrance, or a Rock entrance, rather. And It's got the side plates. And not for nothing, the belt looks stupid without side plates. So I don't get to have Hogan wearing a custom title and tearing off the shirt. Now, I'm pretty sure their titles won't do that. Maybe that's my next test. But my overall opinion of the game is it's the best one they've put out since 19. This has a lot of new things that make it pretty cool. Everything from being able to pick an argument with the referee, the way they leave the ring, the way they pull people out of the ring now. They don't have to be standing up to pull them out. Lots of little just nuances. And then you come across something that you didn't even realize is like, oh shit, that's different. I saw in a match I had the other day on the stream where there's a ladder set up as a bridge, and you throw the opponent onto it, and then the friggin' AI just came diving over the top rope and splashed on him. Didn't go up to the buckle or nothing, man. Just literally did a running jump over the top and broke through the ladder and everything. So there's enough there that they've put into, and the thing I've been hearing a lot of rumblings about lately, once they get the ECW pack, I will probably mess with my GM a little bit. I've never really done anything with my GM. It's not my thing. But what they're saying is they may be next year switching, getting rid of Universe, and instead merging it more into my GM. I don't know what that means, which is why I got a place in my GM. For any of you that are my GM people, you can maybe let me know here in the stream if you know. Are you able to book the matches and then watch them and or participate in them?
Yes.
You can watch the whole card if you want to.
Yeah, it's just that it's broken down match by match, and you have to go into each individual match. But the thing with it is, for a card on my GM, you got 4 matches and 3 promo spots. You can't watch the promo spots. It just gives you a rating. But you got 4 matches you can book. Pay-per-views, I believe, have 6 matches you can book. So, but yeah, you can either simulate them, watch them, and let the AI do it, or you can play one of the characters in it.
Okay. Yes, I do all the voiceover work for everything on my channel. Even if you hear any female voices, that's just me doing it through AI.
Oh, I thought maybe you wore your tight pants to do them.
Yeah, sometimes I do. I just pretend I'm Michael Jackson.
There you go. Yep.
Is it okay if I come down there and sing to you? Hee hee. Well, I could be Mike Tyson.
Oh my God, Logan or fucking Jake.
Oh,
Paul
he's dead. He's so dead.
Yeah, he's dead. Yeah.
I was talking to a guy that works with me, and he's a former boxer. I think he's still he doesn't have matches anymore, and he has a stuttering thing. So I'm not sure if that's related.
It might be.
You know, but you look at him, he's a bad guy. I mean, he's built good. He's the nicest guy in the world. He's got some tats on him all over the place and stuff like that. But he does train still some boxing, so he'll take days off to go train somebody and that kind of gig. He's still involved in it. He come up to me the other day. He says, "So Bill, what are you thinking about Tyson?" And or I think I asked him, and he's like, "Oh my God," he says, "this is going to be bad." I said, "All right, but here's what I'm hearing about it. I'm hearing they're going to use 18-ounce gloves and headgear."
They're not doing the headgear now.
Good, because I ain't paying money for headgear. So then it is official. Then Logan is dead, or not Logan, but Jake. Jake is dead.
And they're thinking that it'll slow Mike Tyson's punches down so they won't cause as much damage using the 18-ounce gloves. And I'm going, right.
It won't cause as much damage, but it's still going to push your nose through the back of your head. So I look back at Tyson's last fight against, what was that COVID fight he had? Not Roy. Was it Roy Jones?
I think so.
Yeah. And there were moments where it's like, okay, they're fighting. Yeah, I mean, they're older guys and it is an exhibition, but they're hitting. But there were moments where Tyson could have put him away. And he didn't. And like, it's a work.
Well, see, my brother asked me, he's like, "What do you think about that match?" And I said, I'm going to put it to you just like this. I said, "You remember Apollo Creed, right? How he act?" I was like, "That's Jake Paul." Then you got Dolph Lundgren. Dolph Lundgren killed him. Mike Tyson's going to kill him. That's end of story. He going to come in thinking, "Oh, we're exhibition," and he's going, "I'll kill you." Boom, and it's going to be done.
Bringing this back to wrestling, when I heard this fight was legit going to happen, all I could remember was when Scott Steiner first brought out the Frankensteiner. It was in the first month or so that he was using this move, and it was over, man. It was like, holy shit, that's a badass looking move. And he did it to some jobber on TV, and the dude took it pretty hard. He spiked him, and Cornette was doing commentary, and I'll never forget it. He hit this dude with that Frankensteiner. It's like, "Oh my God, he's dead!" And that was the quote that popped in my head when I heard that this was officially going to happen. I was like, "He's dead!" Oh my goodness. Thank you, Judd. I appreciate that. I do what I can do. That's all. They're recreating the NES game punch out. Yeah, man. If you were lucky, you'd survive 3 rounds with Tyson. But, man, he hit you once, and it's like, bonk. Oh. He's going to be like that hungry hippo. Just boop, 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 boop. If it's a real fight, and they're saying a lot of shit back and forth, but you wonder how much of this, again, Jake has seen Logan in WWE now, and I love Logan's quote, by the way. I'm not going back to boxing. I'm much better at wrestling. No kidding.
Right.
You got your ass kicked in your last fight, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you are good at wrestling. You're fucking phenomenal at it, to be honest.
Right.
I don't know if Jake has any such interest in going that route. He might after Tyson gets done with it. But if it's a legit fight, it's over in 2 rounds. If Tyson wants to be nice to him and give the fans a little bit for their money.
That's what I was about to say. The only way it'll go longer is if Tyson chooses for it to go longer. So,
which wouldn't be a smart move on his part, because he's already shown if you get hit with a lucky punch,
yeah,
he can get rocked. I mean, those last couple of matches he had against nobodies, and they jacked his jaw. But man, looking at Jake Paul's training videos, unless it's a goof and they're just letting that out to make you think and to make maybe Tyson think that this guy don't belong in the ring. I know enough about boxing not to get in the ring and do anything with it, but I know you don't throw a punch like this.
No.
It's tight here, and it comes straight up instantly. You look at Tyson's over. You look at Tyson at 57, God bless him. What he is hitting that bag, and with the training mitts and the whole thing, the quickness and the head movement is still there. And they keep talking about how he went to an event not long ago with a walking cane, and this is terrible for him to be going in there. Stephen A. was talking about is he doesn't belong in the ring with anybody, much less a guy who's 27 years old. I'm like, the guy who's 27 years old is about to go to the hospital.
Well, see, that's the thing too, is that Mike Tyson, he had a show on YouTube and stuff, and he just did his last show saying he was canceling it after that show because he's not going in this match unprepared. So he canceled the show, and he's working full time on training right now. So.
And who's that? Jake?
Tyson. No, Tyson.
Oh, what show was he canceling?
He had a YouTube show that he was doing every week and stuff.
Oh.
And podcast and stuff.
Well, if he wasn't totally stupid, the YouTube show now would just be them, filming stuff at training and him just calling out Tyson and put clips together over a week. And by the way, Willie D said he thought it was all a work. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, anyone seen the Simpson episode with Homer boxes? I don't think I have. It's not coming back to my memory. Now, of course, I want to, but I'm not going to get Disney Plus for that privilege. So,
right.
And just a quick reminder, we're coming up on it quickly. What's today's date?
The 26th.
Yes, it is. So that means Saturday. As of now, the plan is 5 p.m. We're going to be doing a watch along right here, but I can't stream it. So you would have to get one of these links like I sent Jay so he can come on the panel. And basically, you all be in the little green room, but you can see everything that's happening. And I'm just going to hit play on this thing. So on Saturday, 5 o'clock, we're going to look at the history of the Rock and Wrestling Connection. It was a 2-hour special aired on MTV back in the day. It was on it happened over a course of a couple months, of course. But then they did a combination where they took all the shows they did and made a 2-hour special the night before WrestleMania. And that's what I recorded, and that's what we'll be watching. And then on Sunday, which is March 31st, we'll take a trip back in time to 1985, same date, same time, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard, which will bring us right to the 39-year anniversary. And we're going to see the actual broadcast of WrestleMania as it was done on the closed circuit feed. So you're going to have all the real music in there. You're going to have all the interviews, and they were terrible. Oh, my God. Even got the intermission. I mean, it is literally like you're in 1985 watching the stream. So
nice.
Join us for that. Now, to do that, you got to send me some sort of a message either on Twitter or on Discord. Let me, because I was having this dilemma the other day, get the Discord link up because some people were having trouble. Where the hell's my Discord? There you go. Let me grab the link. And it'll be under Nation Network. And remember, it's all one word and one N in the middle, shared by both words. Invite. Copy. And paste. This is the same logic in how we do our watch-alongs, Jay and I, when we were doing At the Movies. So basically, I'll put the movie in here. We'll both watch it through StreamYard, and then we'll record our reaction to it. So that's the link if you want to hit me up over there on Discord. Otherwise, just go over to Twitter X. And that is pretty simple. And paste. So those are the two ways you can reach out and say, yes, I want to be a participant in watching this. But here's the other catch. There's only 10 people allowed in by StreamYard. So get on it quick because I've already got about 4 slots accounted for. So there's about 6 left right now. If you're interested, what I'll do is send out the link the day of, about an hour before, give or take. And then if people haven't responded, I need you to be in, I'd say 10 minutes ahead of time. That way, if you're not there, I'm going to figure something came up. I'm going to offer the opportunity to somebody who's kind of in the batter's circle there, on deck batter, so that we can hopefully have a full house for this thing. But it's a good time. And then I got to change. I talked about, so April 7th is the anniversary of WrestleMania 2, which I also have the original broadcast of that. And all the same thing, the original music and interviews, and it was terrible. Not the wrestling so much as the interviews. They were generally pretty bad. A lot of that stuff didn't make it to your Coliseum videos. They did a lot of editing on that. But the problem is, April 7th is also night 2 of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to move it up earlier, probably to like 1 or 2 o'clock, just to make sure it doesn't interfere with anything from the actual live event that we're all going to want to watch.
Right.
I'm going to tentatively say 1 o'clock right now. I don't see why that would be a problem. I definitely won't be working that day. So we should be good for 1 o'clock. But I might have to go to 2. Either way, I'll let you all know. But same thing, send me a message on one of those 2 platforms, and then I will send you a link the day of. I pity the fool.
I have to admit, though, the one thing I'm looking forward to for WrestleMania weekend is the Bray Wyatt documentary.
Yes, April 1st.
Yep.
It's actually a week before the event, but yeah, that's going to be. I guess there's a clip in there where they show the new Fiend mask that he was going to be bringing back, and
right.
I'll be honest with you. It's the old Fiend mask, but they like cut off the nose or something. The mouth looked better. It had a more teethy and looked like teeth, you know.
Right.
But I didn't like the nose being cut off thing. I thought that looked a little hokey. Am I going to stream live reaction video during WrestleMania? James, I thought about it. I don't know yet. I don't know. The good thing about StreamYard is I can watch it on the other screen over here, and it doesn't allow the audio. It won't allow audio. I can play, if I put a CD into my computer, that'll work. But so far as like if I pull something up on the network or even YouTube, it won't play it. It'll play video. And of course, I'd get copyright banned left and right of that. Even the little commercial spots that I made for this WrestleMania watch along that I aired on the first stream that I put them on a couple weeks ago that had all the clips and stuff, that got knocked down, and you got to remove that. Fuck you. So I removed those so that the rest of the stream would be visible again. And then I went and redid the whole thing with just taking still photos based on the timeline that they had in there. And then that's okay. But that's a whole lot of work, and I don't plan on doing it that often. But to answer your question, I'm on the fence. I haven't made up my mind yet. Part of me just wants to sit out in the living room, get a big spread of food. This is my Super Bowl. I don't do Super Bowl. I haven't watched the Super Bowl or NFL, NBA, any of that stuff, NHL. I grew up playing hockey for 20 years, loved hockey. I haven't watched a game in a decade. So this is my thing. I'm going to eat like a pig and watch some wrestling. And now I'm old, so that means I'll fall asleep 30 minutes later. Well, what else you got, Jay? Anything?
Not right offhand.
Not right offhand, he says. All right.
Or left hand, either one.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a wrap. I thank you guys for joining us here. We hit the 1 hour mark. I like to keep it to that. And we'll see. I'm not a fan of the direction the WWE is going in right now. And I think Netflix is just going to not do well. That's my guess. The diehards will watch it, but you're not going to grow your channel just by look at AEW, for God's sake. They've been cursing and bleeding for a year and a half. They can't get a point up.
I mean, if they were going to a streaming service, they should have just went with Peacock, and that way all their stuff was already there. Most fans already had Peacock, because I understand that, but if you're looking to because like I said, I'm not buying Netflix. I don't watch anything else on Netflix. I'm not buying it just to watch Raw. I'm not doing it. I said I wasn't buying the game this year. I haven't bought it. I'm not buying Netflix to watch it. I stick to my fucking guns, man.
I feel like that might have been a thinly veiled jab at me, but that's all right. Hey, I didn't buy the game.
I know you didn't. For me, it was a gift. It was gifted to you.
The gift that
by a very wonderful lady. Yes.
And the funny thing is this. The thing I was most upset about was Superstar Billy Graham, and I wasn't going to, and I've really not used him very much. I mean, he looks good in the game and everything, but I just really thought I was going to run a whole thing with him, and it's not fitting into my story.
Right.
Doesn't mean I won't find a way to eventually at some point in time, but as of right now, it's just it's not really a good fit. All right. Well, listen, everybody, have a great rest of your day and keep an eye out. Make sure you hit the like button down below. If you haven't already done that, click that bell notification, because I don't know when I'm going half the time. It's literally I try to go between 5 and 7 when I can. And even then, there's days where I'm just so freaking tired. I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. And there's other days where I have no anticipation of doing it. And it's like, yep, let's jump on and do something. So I don't have a set schedule. I wish I could. I'd be more like Blaze and just go 24/7.
Oh, Jesus.
Does he sleep?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think he lays down in bed and has a robot arm that just keeps on recording shit.
Run this show, run that show, post it.
Man's crazy. And I thought that was me.
Right.
All right, everybody. Well, we're going to say good night to you. Have a great rest of your day. Say goodbye, Jay.
Goodbye, Jay.
Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you again real soon for more WrestleChat. Actually watched a little bit of AEW, not a lot. Just enough to remind me why I don't watch it. Oh, this is already funny. Just the headline. The list of moves and actions that are now banned from AEW or need to be approved by the company.
Maybe that's why Nash is pissed off, because he went for Rock and Austin and not try to duplicate him.
Well, it'd be easier to duplicate him. You only have to learn 5 moves.
Like you said, and we've all been saying, Tony Khan, you need a hierarchy, and he gets one, and then we make fun of it.
Because he's sitting back there talking about the Brock match, and it's finally we had a wrestling match. Finally, we got 2 guys telling a story. They weren't outside in the ring the whole time. One of them
was he not watching the same match as we were?
Yeah, those games, man. I would say, for me, the best ones, I would say, are the ones where they try to get a certain time.
This is my entire IT team right here on screen. Everybody.